What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Anthony, and in today's video I'm reviewing Ju-On Origins. It's a Netflix original series based on The Grudge. Now, the story takes place over a certain amount of years, from 1988 to 1997, and it tells the story about a paranormal investigator, Yaso, who is looking into the Grudge house. That's the only thing I can call it because that's what it's known as in the movies. And this show really brings you in from the start, and from each episode on, it just doesn't let go. It's only 6 episodes, and the length of the episodes are only 25 to 31 minutes. So it's quick, short watch, and it's simple. Now, as the story progresses, we have a lot of backstory to what happens in the house over time. Now, there is a interesting change and twist to this based on, from what the movies are. Now, the movies basically are, all over the place. They've made a ton of those movies. But basically, when you start watching this, it says that it's based on real events. Take it as what you will, and, it's going back to the origin story, which is why it's called Ju-On Origins, of how the so-called curse happened. Now, here's the thing. Kayako does not show up at all. There are certain scares in this that will leave you psychologically drained. One instance is in episode 4. I don't want to get into detail and I don't want to spoil it, but it has to do with a pregnant woman and the husband gets jealous. That's all I'm going to say, and it's one of the most terrifying scenes in any horror show or movie that I have seen, and from then on, up until the very ending of that episode, it's cringeworthy. It's really, intriguing but yet disgusting at the same time. Now, every character in this show does have their own amount of screen time. Here's the thing, it's very confusing at times. If you look away for a second, it goes to a different setting, it goes to a different time. Everything in this show is connected from episode 1 up until the final episode, which is episode 6. And you really have to pay attention because there are different stories taking place at different times in different years. But yet it comes back to the paranormal investigator, Yaso, which he does have a somehow interesting know about the house, and he knows a lot about it. And there are a lot of things in this show that the movie does not have. And this show, you think it's scary in a way where it's a psychological scare. It leaves you guessing and wanting more in a way where if you're watching this, you'll feel uneasy. And I did feel uneasy watching it because, Kayako is not in this at all. The whole, grudge thing with the noise does make an appearance, and the cat meowing is different. And there are certain callbacks to the little boy and Kayako from the movie, but it's done differently in this Ju-On Origins. I do want to say that the filmmaking was fantastic in this, and the Japanese really know how to up their game and up their level on filmmaking, especially with horror franchises, especially with Ju-On. And not calling this Ju-On The Grudge Origins really helps a lot because of the fact that this shows that if you don't use the Grudge name, maybe this will be a better series than the movies. Of course, the movies fell flat after, the American remake was done and all the subsequent sequels that the American remake had. But the best ones are the Japanese versions and the original Japanese Ju-On Grudge movies because they just scare the shit out of you. And this show, Ju-On Origins, really does that. But it ups the factor to a level 10. Maybe even more than 10, maybe even 100. Now, each episode is only named by its number, and it's not given a certain title or any specific given name, which is good because it doesn't give into the factor of, okay, who's this story based on and what happens. As you're watching this, you realize that you yourself are part of this story because as you're watching it, you really fall so in depth with the characters and you really want to pay attention to what's going on. Of course, like I said before, it's very confusing at times, but if you piece together the dots on the map, it does come together and it does make sense. And like I said, there are certain things in this show that will make you cringe and will make you cover your eyes. And it's not the usual jump scare or the sound. It's just subtle sounds, subtle footsteps. And of course, they brought back the phone ringing, and the phones in this series play a big, major role of how it's used and what it's used for and who uses it. And it's very grim in a way, and certain things happen that when you turn around, like I said, you snap your fingers, you want to know what happened. I even actually had to rewatch a certain episode just to figure out what was going on and just to make sense of things. Now, here's the thing. Like I said, it's not in order. It's not a linear story. It jumps around a lot. And that's the problem I have with it. As it's jumping around, you really are invested in one story, and then it switches back to the present day of another story. Once that present story is happening, it goes back to another story. And it keeps going on and on. But the connection with every single story in this series is the house. The house is cursed for some reason. And it is explained why it's cursed for that reason. It's not given an in-depth reason why it's cursed, but it gives you a subtle reason as to what happened and how it all started. Now, I do like the fact that they went back and showed us how the curse started. Of course, there's many iterations of the story. Of course, we know the original Japanese movie and then the American remake, which was somehow connected to the Japanese movie. Then they made the sequel, and then so on and so forth. And then the reboot, where the curse travels with you somehow. But, you know, and I do commend the filmmakers and the creators of this series, because the good thing is that Kayako is nowhere to be found. If you want to watch this and you want to expect Kayako to come around, she does not. And because it's a different story and it takes place during a different time. And of course, I'm pretty sure that as this leads up, this is only season 1, I want to say. This is only season 1. So I'm pretty sure they're going to do a couple more seasons, which leads into the original Japanese movie, which is a really good thing if they do, because then it'll bring together the franchise and it'll bring together how everything started. I did enjoy this a lot, as I said, and just seeing it for what it was fantastic. It's a quick watch. It's 6 episodes long, 25 to 30 minutes, and it's 2.5 to 3 hours. It's quick. And you might find yourself bored with it, saying, I don't like Japanese TV shows or movies or series that's dragging on. No, if you are a fan of The Grudge like I am, you will really enjoy this series. The funny thing is, no one knew that this series was coming out. It just automatically showed up on Netflix. It's a Netflix original series, and it premiered July 3rd, 2020. So it's fairly new, and it's a quick watch. If you want to watch something that you want to, psychologically get scared with in your mind and that stays with you, watch this. Watch Ju-On Origins. After I did watch all 6 episodes, I took a little time to, figure out what was going on and let it sink in a little bit, because, like I said, the 4th episode of Ju-On Origins is one of the most unnerving, unsettling, hard episodes of any TV series, any movie I ever seen, and you'll know why. And you won't be able to look at something the same way ever again, especially after you see what happens. Now, if they do come back with a 2nd season, I would like to see where it goes, because, it's going to be different. Will they add more stories to it, different times? And like I said, the show progresses and starts in 1988, and it goes up until 1997. So there's a lot of factors to put in, and what happens between, 88 and 97 is also given in this show, but then what happens between the other times, between 88 and 1997. This show is good. It's a fun watch, and you'll be blown away by it. And if season 1 is this shocking and surprising, they have to up the ante, up the level of scares, fright, and unnerving, unsettling scenes, because season 2 looks like it's going to be that much better and that much more interesting. If they do go with a season 2, I'm pretty sure they're going to have a season 3. Now, here's the thing. Don't go too much with this series, because you can only do it to a certain point. Don't draw it out like the movies did, because you can only do certain things. If this is a series and it's close to 6 to 10 episodes long, you can get all your stories in 25 to 30 minutes, which is what I love. If a series is 25 to 30 minutes, they get their point across, and then you have to watch the next one, and it's very, very quick. There's a lot of death in this series and a lot of ways people get killed, and it's surprisingly scary and, unique of how the, mind works when you're caught in certain situations and how certain things work. And like I said, I had to rewatch one of the episodes again, and it was just terrifying, utterly terrifying. And it's terrifying in a way where it's not, boom, there's a person in the background. No, it's not like that. It's the eeriness, it's the anticipation, it's the ending that gets you of every episode and you wanting more. That's the scary part about it. Now, Ju-On Origins, it gets 5 out of 5 stars for me. If you want to see this, it's on Netflix now. It premiered July 3rd, 2020. It's a quick and easy watch. It's only 25 to 30 minutes long. And if you like the Grudge series and the movies, and you want to see what a series like this on Netflix can do and how much range they gave them, check this out, because you won't be disappointed at all. I wasn't disappointed at all, because I sat there with my jaw to the floor wondering what the hell just happened and what the hell I just watched. So if you don't know what Ju-On Origins is, I'll leave a link to the trailer in the description box below. You guys can check it out before you check out the show. And let me know in the comment section below what you thought about Ju-On Origins if you watched it already, and what you thought about it, and what episode for you was the most cringeworthy. And be sure you click that subscribe button and hit that notification bell for new videos on my channel. And be sure you follow Market Productions on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and also follow me, Anthony, at Mr. Filmstock on Instagram, Twitter. I'll leave a link to all the social media accounts in the description box below. You guys can check it out and follow along. I'm Anthony. Thanks for tuning in.